Welcome to Hard Talk. I'm Stephen Sacker. One of the world's most sensitive conflict zones is heating up again. Last month, Armenian and Azerbaijani forces clashed and at least 17 people were killed. It is the latest twist in the long-running dispute over Nagorno-Karabakh. Well, my guest today is Armenia's Prime Minister, Nikol Pashiniyan. It's more than 2 years now since you swept into power with very high hopes for the so-called Velvet Revolution. When I look at Armenia today, it seems many Armenians feel that those hopes have been dashed. What has gone wrong?
Yes, of course, the pandemic situation interrupted our flight, but we will continue.
Yeah, I do want, I want to talk
flight.
about the pandemic because I know it's been very difficult for Armenia to deal with it. But before we get to that, I want to look at one other aspect of your administration, which perhaps hasn't seen the change that some people expected. You came to power talking about finding a path to peace with Azerbaijan, and yet in the last month, we've seen new fighting, new conflict in Nagorno-Karabakh. We've seen at least 17 military personnel killed on both sides. It looks as though it's business as usual, not change. Look, you say that the Azerbaijanis started it, and they, of course, say that you started it. And I dare say I'm not going to resolve that on Hard Talk today. But what is quite clear is that you, over months, have taken a series of provocative actions which have heightened tensions in Nagorno-Karabakh. For example, why last year in August did you go to Stepanakert in Nagorno-Karabakh and make a speech saying Artsakh, which is what you call Nagorno-Karabakh, is Armenia, period, and then led a crowd in a chant, a nationalist chant of unification? That was clearly a provocation to Azerbaijan. How you make good on your initial promise to pursue peace. For example, I note that your government plans to build a new road from Armenia into Nagorno-Karabakh following a southern route which goes through a whole swathe of Azerbaijani territory. Now, a group of MEPs in Brussels who've looked at this plan and who specialize in Caucasus politics have described it as a violation of international law. It will symbolically entrench the illegal occupation of Nagorno-Karabakh. We very much deplore this initiative. Will you stop building that road?
It isn't. And Azerbaijan, by the way, is exercising the policy of isolation and blockade for Nagorno-Karabakh, and by the way, for Armenia too.
Prime Minister, I began this interview by saying that you came to power with a revolution with very high hopes of change and reform. But on this issue of Armenia, its nationalist position on Nagorno-Karabakh, the strategy that you are pursuing, which looks, frankly, as though it doesn't have a meaningful peace element to it, you seem just like your predecessors. You don't seem any different.
Armenia always was ready and is ready for compromise. But from the other side,
I'm asking you a very specific question. In the spirit of truth and reconciliation, are you now prepared to say sorry for example, the European Court of Human Rights catalogue of violations of human rights on the part of the Armenian military? Will you say sorry?
European Court has similar catalogue on Azerbaijani's atrocities.
But I'm not talking to the Azerbaijanis, I'm talking to you. Prime Minister, with a strategic question. Armenia is in a tough neighborhood, and you basically have a strategic choice. You can continue to look to Moscow for your main partnership and alliance, or you can perhaps begin to look much more toward the European Union and NATO. The choice is yours. Which way are you going to take Armenia?
Russia is a strategic partner of Armenia.